What is, what was, and what will be start here with the words, in the beginning there was...
Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of Bearded Game Masters. I am your host, Ron. As always, I'm joined here with this time we're a guy short. I'm joined here with Mike.
Hello.
And today our topic is going to be something that's, this has always been an argument between friends, especially gamers, consoles and PCs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just to give a little insight here when we talk about this topic, Mike, would you consider yourself more of a console gamer or a PC gamer?
Post 1995 PC gamer.
Post 95 PC gamer. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Myself, on the other hand, I didn't actually get into PC gaming until, to be honest, the late 2000s. And even then, I'm more of a console gamer myself.
Right.
You know, I dabble, if you will. I play certain games on PC.
Right. And so do I.
But
on the console side, anyway. Yeah.
Console was always my forte. It's just, what I've always used more. Now, for me, for the longest time, the reason I always went with the consoles over the PCs is just, the cost. The cost of a console, in my opinion, compared to a PC, a console is always the cheapest way to go. Now, you're probably going to disagree with me on this one here, Mike, but hear me out here.
Right.
You want to build yourself even a decent gaming rig. Now I'm not talking about going, pre-built or anything like that.
No, that's a whole different beast.
Yeah, that's a whole different beast, and even then. Using the word beast is sometimes an overstatement there.
Right.
But let's use current gen. When we're going to have this conversation. Let's base a lot of this off of let's go 2010 to now. Because that's, when console gaming has really taken off. And I feel like PC gaming has really boomed even more than what it was, in that time span there. But all right. So, Mike, give me a little fresher here, actually, before I get into the whole console thing. Building yourself a mediocre, or let's use the word decent gaming rig. What are we looking at here?
Well, if you want to, like I said, if you're going to do it, it's still probably easier and better to just build it yourself. And something like that would, if you're going to do a little one shot, anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. To go below that, you either have to get a pre-built like a Dell or something like that, or you're going to have to just live with some drawbacks.
Okay.
And honestly, you'll probably end up being more disappointed than if you had just gotten a console.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want to clarify, we're talking about, actual like desktop towers. We're not talking laptops. Laptops are generally more expensive anyway.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a gaming thing. Now there's some that are like insanely powerful, but for half the price, you can get yourself just as good, if not better, tower machine for sure.
Okay. All right. So you're saying, for a decent gaming rig, you're looking
right.
Let's lowball it here, and let's just say $1,000. For a decent gaming rig. The newest generation of consoles, that are currently out right now, you're looking at a base price of $300. If you really go like all the attachments and whatnot, we'll say $300 to $350 actually. Let's
right.
be realistic here. So you're having a significantly cheaper by going console, you're saving a chunk of money. Now, I mean, so the average life. Let's look at the PS4 or PS3, and Xbox 360. Those lasted like 8 years. Yeah, like those consoles there. So you're looking, all right, so let's just say $350. You're getting 8 years out of the system there. That's I feel that's a lot of bang for your buck. But how often are you looking at replacing? All right, so you build your own rig here. How long are you going to get out of your video card or your CPU? What are you looking at here?
The first thing is that when you're buying a console machine, it's cheaper generally because it's a generation or two behind in technology. The technology is cheaper. It's not very cutting edge. That being said, that if you plan it right when you build your own machine, your own computer, you can have it last a long time. You could put down the initial $1,000, $2,000 down, and 4 or 5 years later, replace the video card for only like a couple $100 or $300 for the next better graphics card. If you plan ahead and make space, if you don't use up all your DIMM slots for your RAM, you can double your RAM and get more horsepower of that. Additionally, if you run out of hard drive space for your Steam games, you can either just buy another one, buy a bigger one, put your Steam games on a bigger hard drive. You can upgrade. And the other thing is, like, you don't necessarily have to do like $2,000 down. You're going to get the machine right now. What I did when I was working at the gas station at minimum wage is I built this machine here 4 or 5 years ago, Johnny Cash style. I did it one piece at a time. I set a budget of $200 a month for the next 6 months. And every time I paid off my credit card, I go on Newegg with my wish list and say, okay, what's the next piece I could buy, and buy that, and wait another month, buy the next part. So I didn't have $2,000 on hand, but I could budget it so that, from February to June, I'd have myself a good rig that, 4 or 5 years later is still chooching. And it still fits all my needs. And it's only now I'm seeing on Steam anyway, a game or two where the processor requirement, the recommended processor requirement is actually my processor. So it's not obsolete by any means, but in another, maybe 3 or 4 years, I will start having to either reduce graphic settings on games or just won't be able to play the games on this particular machine.
Okay. So you're saying basically, and I mean, obviously,
price is still a problem, and I can understand that is the leap. You look at it this way. Okay, a console's like $300, right? Mm-hmm. But do you just have a PS4? No, you also have the Xbox One. You also have a Switch.
Well, I mean, you don't need to have those, though. No.
And most games, you can agree, except for, a handful of games are not console exclusive. There's a lot of cross-platform, even on PC games. Look at all the Final Fantasy games now coming on the PC.
I mean, if you own an Xbox, there's a lot more that's cross-platformed. Sony doesn't seem to like to do that kind of stuff yet.
And Microsoft, you could say whether Microsoft's shooting itself in the foot, but look, they own the Xbox. They also own the Windows operating system, so it's to their benefit. They don't care which side gets it. So they benefit. They benefit either way, whether it's on the Xbox or Windows. But unless you're really okay, I absolutely have to constantly play the next Uncharted, and I absolutely have to keep playing the next Halo. You're going to be buying those machines, and before you know it, you probably would end up spending enough that if you just built yourself a computer, or pretty close to the down payment.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
Not to mention that you also have a $2,000 television in the living room, right?
Well, I mean, there's probably people who do, but
right,
hell, not my TV. Let me put it that way.
Not mine either.
But now, all right. So if we're going to be talking, like you're bringing up games, and you're like Uncharted, which is, PS4 title, or Halo, which when and if another one ever gets made, is obviously, a Microsoft thing.
Or even was it the what's that the PlayStation exclusive game with the dinosaurs and that prehistoric woman with
are you talking about
Zero Dawn?
Horizon Zero Dawn?
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn. That's a Sony exclusive. There was talks on the internet of that being ported to PC, but Sony's like, yeah, no, you're never going to get that. You're not touching that.
No, that was a hidden gem I'm glad came out.
Right.
Which, by the way, like, amazing title for any of the 3 to 5 people who listen to this. If you haven't played that, do yourself a favor and just get your hands on that game. If you have a PS4, it's so damn good.
See, I don't even have a PS4 yet, so I don't know.
See, you're. And that's the thing is like, to be honest, like if in your particular case, okay, or anyone really who does a lot of like PC gaming, I wouldn't really ever say to you that you have to go out and buy a PS4, because like you said, yes, a lot of the games come out on most of the games that come out on console you'll see on PC as well.
Right.
But some of the exclusives that they have, like the Horizon Zero Dawn or the Uncharted series, which is surprisingly like awesome, or what I'm currently still like working my way through, and it's probably one of the first games in one of the first games in years where I actually enjoy doing like all of the side missions and like the stupid little like fetch quests, if you will, which is like the new God of War. Like, oh my God, so good. But that's the whole nother topic for another episode. But
and to clarify, like, I have a PlayStation 3. You recommended me because at the time I was like, okay, let me try getting back in the console game. I asked you at the time between PS3, 360 and I think the Wii U was just coming out, which is the one you would recommend for me to jump back in. And you said, PS3. And yeah, I played it, but right now, except for Uncharted 3 and Little Big Planet, all the other games I have are now on the PC. They've been ported over. Even Star Ocean's Last Hope. And so, so the PS3 is regulated to really a Netflix box, but even then, I have to open it up because it sounds like a jet engine, and I know that there's a lot of dust in it, and I got to get it cleaned. Not to mention that my controller doesn't hold. Yeah, my controller doesn't hold much of a charge. No, and I'm just not, racing to go out and pick up a new controller.
I mean, I can't really blame you on that one, especially on a system that's at this point in time just dead on arrival. Well, not dead on arrival, but
but it's right. And not to mention, like, I've, my media stuff I replaced on the television with a Roku, which is a lot quieter. Okay. And so, like I said, except for a couple of games I got off the PlayStation Network, I think Tales of Graces, which is not on the PC. There's really nothing to really play on that. And I just don't get around to it. And I'm just very honest about it. I'm not really poo-pooing the system other than the fact that it sounds like a jet engine. Now, this is like the super slim PS3 with the top loader. All right.
Oh, all right. I know which one you have then.
Yeah. Okay. It was like 250 gigs and it came with Uncharted 3. So
that's a fun title.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it was great. A little awkward going from PC from keyboard mouse to trying to duck and cover with a thumbstick and whatnot, and getting killed left and right, which is something we definitely segue about, because I went really from Super Nintendo to a PC in '95. Okay. And not that I threw my Nintendo away after I got the PC. I played them both. I played my Nintendo. I was still playing my original Nintendo. I was still playing Atari. I said all those systems hooked up to the television, and also had the PC. Okay. So I was playing it all. I just didn't get into the 64, Nintendo 64, and the PS1. The first PlayStation. That generation I skipped, and I just actually didn't get back into console gaming. I wanted to with the PS2. When I saw the PS2 and I saw the games, and then I actually did want to get one. I just, I didn't have a job, didn't have the money, and I skipped that.
Which is kind of a shame because, like, you what? I would almost want to call it like
there's some more.
What's that?
There are games on there I would like to pick up, and hopefully at some point I'll get to a store and pick up a PS2 at some point, and a few games that I actually do want to play.
Okay. Yeah, that's a shame that you skipped out on like that part of the console gaming, because that's what I'd like to consider, like, the renaissance of consoles, if you will, because there were just so many.
Yeah,
that's when it started to really boom and slowly turned into what it is now, in my opinion.
Well, as I said before, I think to me the 64 and the PlayStation were really just the public beta tests on how to do 3D gaming, and I was turned off by it. I saw what could be done on the computer with not just Doom and Dark Forces, but with like Duke Nukem and Daggerfall and whatnot, and even Jedi Knight when that was coming out at that same time, and Quake 3. I said that it's not ready yet. Yeah. PS2 and Xbox. Okay, now you're ready. GameCube. Now you got it right. You got it right now. So for me, I thought sprites were still, the 2D sprite gaming was still better quality than what the 64 and the PlayStation offered. Notice we're not talking about Saturn.
No.
Yeah.
But now, so I'm going to ask you this one. Well, actually, I'm not really going to ask, because you can only answer it I think you can only answer it so much. But, what genres did you enjoy playing on PC compared to what little?
Yeah, I mean, right. Well, let's put it away. There are some genres that are just easier to play on PC than the console. Namely, like real time strategy games like Total Annihilation, StarCraft, Age of Empires.
That's the original Warcraft games. Yeah.
Yeah, you needed a keyboard and mouse, particularly a mouse. I remember seeing a ROM hack where somebody ported StarCraft to Super Nintendo, and it was emulated. Wow. Okay. It was terrible. It was absolute garbage, but it was like a proof of concept. Yeah. I know some companies have tried doing it. Supreme Commander 2 was designed for console gaming, but that game flopped compared to the first Supreme Commander, which was actually a sequel to Total Annihilation.
Okay.
And Supreme Commander was meant for PC. It was meant for a keyboard and mouse. The old point and click adventure games you can make a point. You can say that you can use a thumbstick to move a mouse cursor around the screen. Mm-hmm. And I think they did that with like the ports of like Maniac Mansion on the NES, but it's just easier to, go through inventory and stuff if you had a mouse on you. The Ultima games that got ported to like Ultimate 6 got ported over to Nintendo. That did not work well with a controller. Mm-hmm. That was meant really for a mouse to get through inventory and stuff like that. But generally, in terms of genres, most are fairly well. Now, you and I can discuss, and maybe we should have this as a separate episode, the state of first-person shooters, how they've gone from, the Doom-like corridor shooters, arcade shooters, AVP, to the duck and cover Call of Duty. That is more popular because duck and cover is easier to do than
Call of Duty.
Well, that's what it is.
It's duck like sit in the corner and wait for people to run past you. Call of Duty.
Yeah. But or look at Gears of War where you have to duck and cover. That's meant for the controller. If that's not meant for a piece for a gaming mouse, because gaming mouse being, it's generally more precise. You can't do arcade shooters if you're on a thumbstick and you have to use the trigger buttons. So I could see why they became more duck and cover shooters. Vanguard, I think it's called, or Vanquish. was also like that. And that was like the first person shooter I played or actually third person shooter on PS3 when I first got that, to see what it's like to do a game like that. And that was rough. Playing Doom 3 on the PS3 was a trial for me because I was so used to playing it with a keyboard and mouse.
Okay.
But I persevered because it's a game I knew on the PC, so I knew what to do. It's just that I had to do it on easy mode.
So that's what I actually, now that we're talking about that, I find it kind of funny because I have played Overwatch on console and like have done absolutely horrible on that game. Just because solely based on just using a controller. Like when I've hopped on like on my computer and I've sat and played games of Overwatch with some friends, and like I do significantly better because that mouse and that keyboard actually, you know, in games like that, and in the first person shooter games or the hero shooters, whatever you want to call like that particular one. Arena shooters. Yeah. They make the, using the mouse and keyboard significantly, they make having that and you playing that game significantly easier than using a controller. Yeah,
you could see the difference between you remember you got to play Unreal Tournament 2004. You compare that to Unreal Tournament 3, which was meant for the 360. It felt a lot heavier than the more floaty, fast-paced 2004, because 2004 was meant for a keyboard. It was an arcade shooter, or even this is even something I found. Like you said, I'm a big fan of AVP 2000 from Rebellion. Okay, I love playing the alien because it's fast, it's loose, and you could just hold down the jump button and go forward, and you just rip through people in multiplayer. Then you look at the next not AVP 2, which it's not the same problem, but the third one that Rebellion did. I think that was like 2008 or so.
Was that the one that came out on console and PC?
Console, right? Yeah.
Okay.
The Alien, the Alien was, to me, bulky and heavy. It wasn't fast and fluid like it was in the first game.
Really?
It felt like a heavy tank, and a lot of that I contribute to the fact that it was geared for a handheld controller. It was if you had a chance to play AVP on the PC, play the Alien, hold go down and crouch down so you're in the wall mode. Your wall walking mode, hit that jump button and don't let it go. Go forward and just rip through those humans. Go back and then play the second Rebellion AVP game. Try doing that with the Alien in that game. It's not the same.
Oh man, if I still had my old Xbox 360 and I had that game at one point for it.
Right.
I remember playing it and I thought I did pretty well with the Alien.
I have it for PC. I haven't fired it up in a long while.
Nowadays, you can probably only do bot games on that anyway.
Yeah. But there's console gaming has affected PC gaming. It used to be that PC hardware was constantly leaps ahead with leaps ahead of console gaming. Now we'll get ahead, but we have to wait for console games to catch up, so to speak.
Okay.
As a rule, although that Final Fantasy 14 was a 14 or 15 was ported over, and it supports 8K gaming, video gaming.
Okay,
that's I don't think you could get that on the PS4 or Xbox One, an 8K display gaming.
No, not that I know.
Now, as a caveat, you got to have a big rig PC to pull that off. You're probably going to have a dual video cards, and that's going to set you up. That alone could set you off a couple $1,000 to have two high end video cards and the power supply to push it. Mm-hmm. But look, with PC game, you each machine is their own, and you build it to what you want to do. I'm not going to do 8K gaming, so I'm not going to spend money on that.
Okay. But you're still, how do I word this? You're still, when you're building your rig,
you're spending money.
You're still spending more money. If I can actually talk here, that'd be amazing. You're still spending more money than what you would on a console. But what you're saying is it's going to last you a little bit longer, and you can kind of build it to whatever you want to do.
Right, and not only you got to remember, it's not just for gaming. Like my machine here, I use it to do work on when I'm home. If I work at home, I'm not going to go to the office that day. I'll stay home. I could do my work here. It's the same machine.
Gotcha.
I got a decent sized machine. I feel like I need to clean up the room a little bit. I'll put on Netflix on it. So it's also my television. It's also my music box. So there's a versatility with this machine.
I mean, you're getting the same versatility out of consoles then too, though. Like you're still.
But how many consoles? How many consoles help you put together a podcast?
Touche. But you're talking about like putting on like the Netflix or the Hulu or whatever, or like streaming YouTube through it or listening to music through it. Like a lot of this stuff, which makes me happy that they're doing it. They are starting to. I mean, like, all right, let's look at it this way. Just, 5 years ago, if you wanted to do a Let's Play video, you had to have,
Oh, you have to have the extra box and.
Well, yeah, you had to have
video
the capture card.
And all that. Yeah.
And then you had, if you were going to play it on a console, you'd have to have the console and the game and a good enough PC to be able to record it all and yada, yada, yada. But nowadays, I mean, hell, the Xbox, and the PS4 and to some extent, the Switch all have the capability of recording their own, recording the footage, on the system and uploading it to,
and
to
Microsoft
YouTube.
did the same for Windows. So you could just hit Windows key G and hit the record button and you're good to go.
Yeah. I mean, like, nowadays, if you want to sit down and play God of War, or Mario Kart and stream it on Twitch, you can do that through the system.
Yeah.
And well, maybe not Mario Kart. At least not that I can recall. But anyway, the point is like you can just, you can use these systems for a lot more than just, playing.
And on my system,
the
I
newest
can
Call of Duty or whatever.
Right. And I rip my DVDs and Blu-rays and so I can stream in the home. Or in fact, I'll run Netflix in here, but I can run Netflix and do my work at the same time. Open up Excel and do my spreadsheet garbage. So, I mean, like I said, there's versatility on it. All right. It is. I still have to concede it's more expensive. There's ways around it. Like I said, you could do it one little piece at a time, build your wish list, buy, spend within your budget over a period of months. And then you get to put your machine together and there you go. You got it.
Yeah. Which just a side note to anyone who's out there listening, and is considering building your own PC, heed my advice on this. I got lucky, and I had a friend of mine there with me to help build mine. But definitely, I would say like if you're trying to build it on a budget, definitely
I would not for a gaming machine. I would not go below 1,000.
But what I'm saying
pushing
is 800. No, I honestly think if you decide on like, all right, like when I built mine, I wanted to make sure that I had a damn good CPU, so that way I wasn't going to have problems, multitasking or, doing whatever. I was willing to fork out a little extra money to get the better CPU than have, I spent the money to get the top of the line part for that. And then like when it came to, the video card, it was like, all right, well, I'll go middle of the road here on the video card.
That's the way you want to do it. Yeah, that's the way you want to do it. What I like to do is when I do pricing and all that, I look at all the different stuff. Let's say let's say to make this math simple, processor for $100. Okay, that's great. For maybe 50% more speed, here's the other model that's only $20 more. I would get that one instead. But if the next one up is like another $100, that's where I stop. I'll go $20 more because that's I'm already spending $1,000. What's another $20? All right, for more power. But when I built this machine, when I picked the parts for the machine, I actually picked parts that were a generation behind. All right.
Okay.
So I didn't do bleeding edge.
Yeah.
I didn't do bleeding edge, and I'm still doing all right. Anyone's curious? I picked out the Intel i7 3770, which was middle of the road, higher end middle of the road. And it still works. I still play all the games I want to play. I can render videos very well. Mm-hmm. It does everything I need to do, and it runs like a champ. No problems. If you're going to pick something like an i3, that's for office work. I can tell you that right now. I'm not familiar with AMD's Ryzen chipsets, so I can't say anything like that. And Ron's advice is right. You at this time, pretty much everybody either has a friend, has a cousin, has a relative. They know somebody who does this stuff, and would either give you advice or could probably do it for $20 for you. If you just buy the parts and for $20 they'll put it together, because it's people like me, we like doing this. It's Legos for adults. It's essentially what it is. It used to be a lot more difficult, but now you could go on, you pick the parts you want. You could go online. There's websites out there that calculate the power you got to use. So you don't have to guess how much, what size power box you're going to need. And you're good. I think actually the most difficult part of putting the computer together really is putting all the little jumpers on for the front panel on your case to the motherboard. Those little tiny connectors, they could be a pain in the butt, especially if the motherboard's not really clearly marked which one's the reset pins, which one's the power pin, which one's the hard drive pin, the light to get these leads connected and the power button connected. That's actually the most difficult part, at least for me. Once that's over with, it's fun. Cable management, stuff like that. But that's, but you put it together, it's yours. You built this, and there's that connection you're going to have with that machine, I would hope.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like going to Harry's, you pull it, buying the junk car and tooling it up yourself on the weekends, and after the summer you got yourself 1970 something GTO, all yours, ready to go. It's the same feel. Yeah, I would think.
I would say to an extent you're correct there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, I just helped pick out the parts for my current setup, and it was it's special.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way. When the time comes that I actually have to start like replacing parts on mine, I'm going to be a little sad.
Yeah. And that's a thing that you can't really do on consoles other than you buy the better version, like with the Xbox. There's now a couple versions of Xbox One, right?
But I mean, granted, now when it comes to like the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, and then there's that other Xbox, mm-hmm. version. I can't tell you what's special about it other than I know those two, or at least the one that the name escapes me, can do 4K. Yeah. But otherwise, I really don't think there's that much of a difference, but I could be wrong on it. I mean, I don't own any of those souped up versions, so I can't say otherwise.
And that's where I was getting at. Like, you could get, you don't have to go hog wild with your first video card. You could be on a little budget, get a mid-range card, and then the following year, when you have the budget for it, you could blow $400 or $500. Get the RX 580, get something that's beefier. And then you got yourself so you just extended the life of your machine even further, and not necessarily beat your budget to death.
Fair enough. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about this, one little pro on the console end compared to PC is you don't have to worry about viruses or any of that other BS. That part's cool. But then, you know what? Even in all honesty, let's look at it in the sense of, and here I am, the console guy, more so defending the PC on this end, but like mods,
Yes, that's the big thing. And that's what keeps me here. I can't. It's a lot different than it was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where people would come up with tools. I would make my own like scenarios for TIE Fighter. I would modify games like Rebellion. I would make my own levels in Quake 3. There's a program called GDK Radiant. I built my own levels. I had fun doing that stuff. But now it's either it's built with mod capability, or they'll DMCA your ass if you do anything to their game.
Looking at you there, Bethesda.
Yeah, it's weird because they give you the tools, and now they want to sell you. Now they want to sell you their downloadable content. They want to sell you mods. That is a joke, but the way I look at it is like it's like I bought the game. Yes, I know it's licensed, so it's not technically mine, but it's mine. Take your $50. Take my $50. Walk away. I'm going to do what I want with my game. Okay. I
can't help but to think of that Mad Max just walk
away. If 12-year-old Mike decides he wants to replace all the characters in Star Wars Rebellion with hot female celebrities, he damn well has the right to do so. Okay. But you get today there are games out there that they don't let you mod. They feel that it's like it's a copyright infringement or something like that. It's so weird.
Yeah. I know when you take I'm sorry, you were going to say something there. Go with it.
No. I ended it right there.
Oh, okay. I know, like, when it comes to, because I'll be the first to admit, like, I haven't modded many games that I've played. I mean, honestly, what did I do? I modded Skyrim, Torchlight 2, and
Bethesda's games require you to mod just to actually fix their crap.
On some of them, definitely. But when I started, oh my God, I modded the living hell out of Left 4 Dead, putting in different sprites and taking out, the four main characters, just having fun stuff. And
that's me, part of it. It's for fun.
It's for fun, but also like I'm going to use, because again, I did it more with Left 4 Dead than I did with any of the other ones. When I would when I would sit down and, play a couple of rounds of that with some of my friends back, at a point in time, having those mods and replacing, like, just as something as silly as replacing the characters and putting in like Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario and Homer Simpson or something like that. Or voice, had the Macho Man, replacing all the zombie sounds with Macho Man radios. Yes. Like, it just made the game so much more fun and a lot more refreshing, which is why I wanted to do it. And then, yes, I did a little bit with Skyrim and actually a pretty decent amount with Torchlight. That when I heard that this was going to be a thing that was going to come to consoles, I got really excited and I was like, all right, I can do this same kind of stuff here, but now on the console end, so I don't have to be on my PC and do it. That I was a little bummed out when I saw how it actually came about.
Or like, in Alien vs. Predator 2000, I modded the textures a lot. When I gave the aliens like a smooth cowl, smooth head, like in the first movie. All right. Because I like that look a little bit better than the James Cameron bumpy heads.
Okay.
I changed the Predator. I got a texture that changed the Pred Alien to black instead of the orange.
Okay.
I thought the orange was a little drastic. And I also changed the sounds. There was a mod that changed the sound so that when you kill the aliens, instead of just crackling and popping, they'd scream like in the Aliens. All right. And that was pretty cool. And plus, when I taunted the human, that it would play Hudson quotes, because why not? Yeah, I think I also did a mod where one of the Marines' uniforms would be from Predator, Blaine's MTV T-shirt.
Okay.
All right. Just for extra stuff. And plus I would edit it so that I could play any character on any level, even the multiplayer levels. So like as much as I love that game, there was no skirmish mode for Alien. All right. Skirmish mode was only to fight alien AI. So what I would do is I would mod it so that I would load up the alien in a multiplayer map, and using keybinds, I would quickly spawn human opponents in the map, run around a while, find a spot to hide, let the AI move around and all that, and then I would essentially have my own custom level with humans to screw around with.
Okay.
I put a little effort to it, but
you were able to do something that you normally couldn't in the game.
Right. Not designed by, not by design. I had to, find tools, and, you have to learn how to do these things. Like if you want to make levels for like Quake 3 or something like that, or even whatever's out today, maybe for the new Doom, there are tools for that. And you can go online and get that stuff. It's a little bit harder, although I know like we said, Bethesda's trying to do that with their with Fallout 4 and Skyrim, trying to sell you mods for the console side.
Yeah.
I know Sony's been really hesitant about this stuff, and they put a lot more restrictions on it than what Microsoft has allowed when it comes to mods. I don't know all the details. I just remember reading about that. But modding is really on the PC end because the files are there. You just have to go in there and dig. And there are a lot smarter people than me that can get in there, dig information out and make an editor or a cheat thing and whatnot. For me, some games, particularly like Star Wars Rebellion, are actually funner modded than if I left it old by default.
So they're more fun modded than playing.
They're more fun. I can't play it. I can't play it without it being modded.
Oh, really?
It doesn't even feel the same anymore.
Okay.
That's and on the flip side, there are actually some games like Elder Scrolls Morrowind, which I actually prefer as little modded as possible. I actually prefer the default game. The only things I've done with it is really add the Tamara rebuilt expanded landmass. And I think there's a couple and the unofficial patch mod. Actually, after that, I actually really haven't done anything. I used to mod it a lot, but it would crash like none other.
Oh, really?
Because it was very unstable.
Okay.
And so I actually try to keep modding on low. I try not to mod that game too much. On the flip side, like Skyrim, I have to use the Nexus mod manager. I loaded up a bunch of mods. There's a couple of YouTube guys that have actually gone through a list of what's recommended mods for that game. And I've gone through them and like, actually, I like this one. I'll use this one. Some are very tricky, like the new model animations and stuff. That's a little tricky to do. But once you set it, it's like, okay, don't touch.
Just leave it be. Don't look at it. Don't breathe on it. Just
it
let
works.
It alone.
Walk away.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So
definitely the modding scene is
that's still
at this
big.
point. Let's just say it's non-existent on console. Like I think that's the best way. Because to be fair, to my knowledge, the only games on console that you can do it on are Bethesda ones. Well, Bethesda 1. Because as far as I know, it's only Skyrim or not Skyrim. Fallout 4. Yeah, which you technically end up having to buy the mods, which is a whole nother topic for another time.
And you still need a PC to make the mods.
Yeah, you can't make the mods on console.
I mean, look, my console makes your consoles, your console games. In order to make, in order for them to make Uncharted 4, they needed to do it on a PC.
Oh, of course. Of course.
We make your games.
But me.
And actually, and Microsoft provides that for free with the Visual Studio.
That is true.
All right. You just have to learn how to program. Or even you go on Steam, you could get RPG Maker. You can make your own RPG game.
There's a few of them already out. You can make it however you want.
There's one sitting on my hard drive collecting dust.
Collecting that digital dust from not being used yet. But then granted, I mean, to be fair, like I'm fairly certain that that's most people's Steam library, myself included.
Oh, mine too. I mean, actually, here, let me. It says my library games 238.
And how many of those do you actually play? Maybe 1, 2 max.
Maybe I got 238 games, 4 softwares, and they're all installed, by the way.
Okay.
Now, granted, there's things like, like I got the Half-Life pack. So it comes with A Place in the West, Blue Shift, Opposing Forces. I haven't played those.
Okay.
Right. I try to get bundles, and I don't always play all the bundles.
I can't really blame you on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Steam sales.
Yeah. Or look at Civilization 4. It came with expansion packs, which are actually standalone games in themselves. So there's only one version you play if you want the full version, and the other 4 just sit there.
Gotcha.
You have to install them in order for it all to work, but they just sit there. Or all the Dawn of War stuff from Warhammer. Each expansion pack's its own game. So so that stuff adds up on my Steam library. But yeah, still, it's like over 200 games. I don't have time to play them all, and I find myself just playing the old games that I like. I wonder if Good Old Games has a countdown. Yeah, my Good Old Games collection is 120.
Jesus.
Some of them I got for free because I had them on Steam. They do every now and then. They'll do a cross-platform thing, so you get it on Steam, and we'll give you the DRM free version on Good Old Games. Well, I like that better than the Steam version because this way I can make a backup.
Gotcha.
All right, and again, some of these are bundled packs. Like for example, TIE Fighter. I got 3 different versions of it. It's the same game.
But you have 3 different versions of it.
Yeah, one's like the original floppy version. The other one's got voice. The other one is the collector CD edition. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that. So and of course then you have like the original Baldur's Gate 2, and then here's the enhanced edition. Well, there's 2 versions now.
I miss those games actually. Now that I think about it, Baldur's Gates, those games were always fun.
That's a game you can't put on a console without without making a crappy cursor on the screen.
I mean, to be fair, I played a couple of Baldur's Gates on actually that's the only way I've ever played them. You just move the character. Yeah, there's no cursor. You control the character. You move him around and do it that way.
See, I couldn't do it because I have to right click on the character to get my spells and stuff like that, and get all that stuff up. Same thing with Planescape Torment. I go right to the character.
Okay, so they do it like when it comes to console, like for like, all right, actually here's one that plays, in my opinion, better on console than it did on PC, and that was Diablo 3. Like. Especially just in moving the character around, like you just move the joystick in the direction that you want to go, and it takes you there rather than point and click on the area and then click on the next area, then click on there and so forth. I don't know. I just thought of that one now, but yeah, like it, or at least to my memory, that's Baldur's Gate was pretty similar. But anyway, yeah, they were just fun games. I miss those dungeon crawlers like that. I
mean, the majority of games on PC run on the PC on the keyboard and mouse. Microsoft, since the 360, have made thankfully finally a standardized game controller on PC, because for decades everybody had their own version of what a controller should be on the computer, and it was a nightmare. I remember my first controller on the computer was this Gravis Game Pro. It almost looks like a Super Nintendo controller, only it only had the 4 buttons. It didn't have shoulder buttons. It didn't have a start and select.
Oh, okay.
So it was enough to play Commander Keen, but I wouldn't want to run emulations on it, or at least not Super Nintendo emulations.
Yeah.
But PC is where you go for the flight sims or the joystick. Okay. And they're getting really fancy now where they almost look like actual flight controls. Like you also have throttles and you have brakes and stuff like that. You could spend buku money on high quality joysticks to make the flight simulation games that more immersive.
Okay.
And the same thing with driving games. You actually have like all the driving wheels. You can purchase so that so when you're playing dirt or grid? I don't know, but there's a lot of racing games on the PC, and obviously you could use a joystick and mouse, but it's better with the actual, or even a joystick, but it's better with the actual wheel. The truck simulator game, I actually picked that one up just for giggles. Okay. And I play it with a keyboard and mouse. It's absolutely terrible. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to buy myself a wheel at some point. With the pedals on the floor and all that.
Yeah. I've actually never used any of those. I know at one point this is going back in like Windows 95 era that I used one of the flight sim joysticks, but never any. I never had a wheel. Yeah, I never had a wheel. Neither have I.
But yeah, with the flight, my favorite game, TIE Fighter, you have to have you have to get a joystick. It won't let you play with a mouse. Yeah, it has to be with a joystick.
I mean, here's the thing with consoles, though. You don't. You don't have that issue. You want to play a driving game, you just pop in the driving game and start playing it. There was only, to my knowledge, there has only ever been, and this is excluding like the Wii or the Wii U or any of that stuff, but like, there has only ever been one game, to my knowledge, that has ever come out where you needed to have like a specific controller for, and that was for the original Xbox, Steel Battalion. Right. Where you bought the game and like it was a $200 like Xbox game that you could get at the time. But it came with the game, and then it came with like basically a $50 game and a $150 controller that you needed to have to play this game. Right. So you don't have to worry about all that BS when it comes to consoles, which is,
and even today now with the Xbox controllers for the PC, you could default to that still.
Yeah. Well, to be fair though, too, I know like the flight sim games, there's a pretty, I don't want to call it underground, but there's a pretty big fan following for them that use.
Oh yeah. My chiropractor is big on that. But you look at you look at the games like TIE Fighter, X-Wing Alliance. It's a joystick base. You needed the keyboard though, because you had full control of your craft. You power management, shield management, targeting apparatus, weapons controls. You needed the full keyboard. Even a high quality joystick that has all the buttons doesn't have enough buttons compared to the keyboard for that. Rogue Squadron came out on the N64, and I think it was also ported to PC, but it was N64. Because of the limitations of the controller, it was nothing like the X-Wing games. It was pulled back considerably. You didn't have any weapons control, power management. Targeting was very, very simplified. Flight control was very simplified because you only had a handful of buttons and you had a thumbstick. Okay. Thumbstick, I can grant it could be a thumbstick can be as useful as a joystick itself. And I don't think for what I've played on the PS3, when it comes to that, doesn't feel that bad. But like when you're playing something like TIE Fighter and you're trying to do power management on your ship, you needed the full keyboard. You need to hit that key right away to bank hard to get out of the missiles way. That's something that cannot be on the console, and that's why we're not having another X-Wing game, because you can't. It's only going to be a PC game, and EA is not in the business of making a PC only game and expect a large return. Yeah. Even LucasArts before Disney came in, post you get even about the time when the prequels came out, they started outsourcing all their games and all that. So they just weren't interested in that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, those kinds of things you won't see anymore.
No, and that makes me grumpy and old already. It's going to turn me into a gray beard real fast.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably. But then again, I mean, consoles are definitely a lot. I'm not going to say it's a larger market, but it's
a significant market. But I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad right now that you can go and like when you see a game come out on the consoles, and then you can see maybe a few months later, but you'll see on Steam it shows up. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. I may not pick it up. Right now I just don't have time for anything like that. Yeah. But it's there. So it's getting there. There's enough of us of the master race that they have to. It's worthwhile for them to port over. Now, are some ports better than other? Absolutely. There are some really terrible ports. Square Enix, I'm looking at you. You do a terrible job of porting games. No, I mean, you do the initial port, but you don't follow up on the patches because once there's more than just the 10 machines in your R&D to test this software on. There's a lot of configurations. It is a lot different than creating a game on a console, because at least, I grant you, on a console you know what you're doing, you know what hardware it's going to be used for. Generally, if there's different iterations of like a super version or a plus version, like the 3DSs, that might be a concern. But with a PC, although it's not as bad as it used to be, when you're making a game on a PC, you have to take care. You have to consider a lot of factors: video card support, processor support, all that kind of stuff, and you have to spend some technical support. You're gonna have to spend some time on some patches. Now, that being said, how many games are being patched constantly on the console versions? Right?
I mean, depending on what it is you're playing, there's a lot sometimes.
Well, I remember when I tried Skyrim on the PS3. I mean, even the legendary version, I think, got a patch or two later on. So,
yeah. I mean, Jesus. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've had I've been playing a lot of the new God of War, and I've had a patch a day for that. Yeah. There was a patch on Friday, then a patch again on Saturday, and then a patch earlier today.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. So I definitely they've both platforms, and I'm including all of console on this one. Definitely, they all have their pros and their cons. I definitely feel that if you don't have about $1,000 to build, like a really good quality machine there that you can use more for more than just gaming. But you want a game, console is definitely the way to go. Longevity is getting there. Like I said, last PS3s, Xbox 360s, those lasted like 8 years, which is the longest out of any of them. I would like to say that, the PS4 and the Xbox One is going to last another 8 years. Minus some updated versions of it, but
PS5 2018 E3 watch.
Man, don't. I don't know. I think that's too soon, but then again, it doesn't feel like, I think the PS4 has been out for a while now, and it doesn't really feel like it. It's, 3 years? 4 years?
I don't know, 5
something
years.
Like that. Either way, it's been out for a while. It doesn't really feel like it, just because the previous ones were out for so much longer.
No, that was a rut. The market kind of pulled back, and there was just no one wanted to release a console at the time because no one had the money to buy anything yet.
Yeah.
So there was kind of an extended period when it came to the PS3 and the 360.
Yeah, so I would like to think these ones will last a lot longer. But hey, you know what? I guess we'll have to wait till E3 comes and see what happens. But realistically speaking, yes, if you want something that's going to last pretty much the rest of your life, PC is the way to go. I mean, I have a rig. My setup's going to last, has worked for me for about 4 years now. And I'm really still to this day not running into any problems with it. And when I start to, it's just like, Mike had said, replace piece by piece. And then that's pretty much it.
And not only that, but I'm running a machine here that's still able to play games from the 1980s.
Keep in mind, you might need to do something special to get it to play.
Maybe.
But
and also, I mean, just to touch on real quick. I mean, when you do a PC, emulation is big. Not just with all the Nintendo games, the legality aside.
Yeah,
you have access to pretty much the entire Nintendo Sega library. There are emulators for the 64, PlayStation 1, PS2, GameCube. It's really rough, but even PS3, if you have a Blu-ray player on your computer, PS3 games are being emulated. They're really rough right now. And I think for the most part, you can't get past the menus, but the fact that they run it all. All right. And we're talking about a completely different architecture, the cell chip architecture. Which is nothing like what you have in a 386 x64 Intel AMD architecture on PCs. The fact that it runs it all is a testament to people's ingenuity and craftiness when it comes to programming, for sure. Yeah. And I would not be surprised at some point if Microsoft further melds PC and Xbox gaming together, where you could essentially pick up an Xbox game and it will run on your PC.
You mean like putting the disc into your PC?
What is a disc game? Yeah, go to. I know they've been talking about that. That'd be cool. It make thing, because I'm a physical disc guy. I know there's convenience when it comes to downloading, but I'd rather actually physically have the disc. I'd rather have the box on my shelf for display. Call me old fashioned.
I agree with you on certain games. Certain games I'd really like to have the actual box for.
Is it called Resident Evil, Ron?
Well, that's one of them, but that's console end. Or, actually, if you take into consideration the first one they released on PC. But hey, we're not talking about that one.
That brings up painful memories.
Like, yeah, tell me about it. But all right, I play World of Warcraft. I have the boxes.
Yeah, that's a generally PC thing.
Yeah. But I have the box for, the first... When the first one came out, and then from each expansion on, damn it, I'm wrong.
Collection.
Each expansion minus the newest, the current one, I have, the box for sitting on the shelf where, I can see everything.
So
those I like to have.
I have it on my shelf. I have the Morrowind and its two expansions right next to each other. I have Neverwinter Nights. I'm actually looking at them.
Yeah. You just turn around and just take a look and see what's there.
One of the greatest disappointments ever played, Spore, is on my shelf.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there's an episode right there we got to talk about disappointing games.
Spore.
I actually have a list of maybe 3 or 4 for sure.
Oh, I could probably think of a few if I had a minute or two.
Yeah. You want me to do a tease?
What do you got?
Let me do it. These are games that disappointed me greatly. Jedi Knight 2, AVP 2, Oblivion, Spore.
Oblivion, really?
That disappointed me.
Oh,
I played Elder Scrolls since day one with Arena.
Okay,
and seeing my beloved franchise
Well,
No.
I mean, to each their own. I liked Oblivion, but hey, that's neither here nor there right now.
Yep. But in any case, like I said, there's a tease for a future episode.
Yeah, something else that we could talk about there.
Hopefully, I'll get some right in the comment section.
Maybe there'll be that one person to be like, oh yeah, hey, well this one was a giant disappointment.
That Mike sucks. He doesn't know crap.
All right. So enough with trying to bait the comments there.
Yeah.
But let's see here. I think that is. How are we on time here?
I think we're beyond time right now.
Yeah, we are. I think we actually spent a little bit longer than what we originally anticipated on this.
This is another two-parter for Daily Motion.
Yeah, right. All right. So we're gonna wrap things up here. First, I want to thank anyone who happens to listen to this one. As always, leave a comment, like, subscribe, whatever you can do to help get this out there, to get more people to listen to it or to watch it, depending on the platform that you're on. As Mike had said, we are on Daily Motion. We are also on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. You can find us all at Bearded Game Masters. And if you have any questions or comments, or if you have an idea, or not even an idea, but something you want to hear us talk about, by all means, drop us a line at beardedgamemasters@gmail.com. And as always, my name is Ron.
Mike.
And I appreciate and thank you for listening. Take care.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.